In this video I will show you how to replace the driver's side front window regulator on 2008 to 2016 Chrysler Town & Country minivans. These steps are similar for 2008 to 2020 Dodge Grand Caravan. Start by removing the plastic trim piece located in the upper right corner of the door panel near the door jamb by pulling it straight out with your hands, or prying gently on it with a plastic trim tool. Remove the plastic cover located behind the pull handle by prying on it with a small flat screwdriver or a small plastic trim tool. Remove the plastic cover located behind the door handle in a similar way. Remove the screw located behind the pull handle using a T20 Torx socket. Remove the Torx screw located behind the door handle using the same socket. Detach the power window master switch assembly from the door panel by prying it up gently using a plastic trim tool. Disconnect the electrical connector from the power window switch by pressing on the plastic tab and pulling on the connector at the same time. Once the electrical plug has been disconnected, set the switch aside. Pry the other switch out in a similar way, disconnect the electrical connector and detach it from the door panel. Pry the dome light out using a small plastic tool or a small flat screwdriver, disconnect the electrical connector and set it aside. Pry on the edges of the door panel using a plastic trim tool to detach the plastic retainers that hold the door panel to the door. Once the door panel is detached from the door, lift it up slightly by grabbing it on both ends with your hands and applying upward pressure at the same time. Detach the retainer that holds the cable in place by pressing on the plastic tabs and sliding the retainer out at the same time. Move the cable 90 degrees and slide it up to detach it from the door handle. Set the door panel aside. Detach the round plastic cover shown on the screen by pulling on it with your fingers. Remove the 4 screws that hold the speaker, detach the speaker from the door, disconnect the electrical plug from the speaker and set the speaker aside. Detach and disconnect the electrical plug located behind the round cover that you detached earlier. Disconnect the rod shown on the screen by sliding the plastic retainer to the side, and once the retainer is free, slide the rod out. Remove the 3 screws that fasten the door latch using a T27 Torx socket. Detach the plastic clips from the glass by inserting a flat screwdriver, pushing and applying downward pressure on the clip. Repeat the same procedure for the clip located on the other side. Next, disconnect all the electrical connectors from the window regulator housing. Next, move the glass all the way up and secure it using plastic wedges or taping the window up using masking tape. Disconnect the electrical connection from the window motor, remove the screws and remove the motor from the regulator. Next, remove the bolts that fasten the window regulator to the door using a 10 mm socket. Pry the regulator assembly to separate it from the door using a flat screwdriver or a plastic trim tool. Once it is free, slide it towards the inside of the vehicle slightly to gain access to the other rod. Detach the rod shown on the screen in the same way you detached the previous one. Finish removing the window regulator assembly by sliding it towards the inside of the vehicle. Once the door latch clears the edge of the door, pull it all the way out. Disconnect the remaining electrical plugs, remove the regulator assembly all the way and set it on a workbench. Remove the 4 screws that fasten the old window regulator tracks to the plastic housing and remove the old window regulator from the plastic housing. Flip the plastic housing to the other side and proceed to install the new window regulator tracks. Install the bolts and tighten them properly. Proceed to reinstall all the remaining components in the reverse order they were removed, making sure that all the screws are tightened properly also. Note, the auto window roll up and down feature may need to be reset. On most of these models this is done by rolling the window up and maintaining the window switch pressed for 5 seconds, followed by rolling the window down and keeping the switch pressed for 5 seconds. It is recommended that you search online to verify that this procedure applies to your model. And that is how simple it is to replace a front window regulator on 2008 to 2016 Chrysler Town & Country minivans.